I'm Anna Whiteley and welcome to Golf Central on YouTube. LPGA Tour Commissioner Mike Whan, who just completed his 11th year at the helm of the women's game, announced that he will be stepping down before the end of the year. He joined our very own Damon Hack and Shane Bacon on Golf Today to talk about why.
As we were living through this pandemic in 2020, it hit me as I was witnessing it. My team had this team that I've built over the last 11 years. Of course, I was involved and participating, but they really took this and took charge of the business. And it kind of reminded me when my kids went to college. You know, it's a sad moment, but you realize your kids are ready, you've got them ready, and at this point, it's time to get out of their way and let them run. And I looked at the business and I realized that the LPGA is in great hands. We've never been more financially sound, more sponsors, more global partners, more TV coverage or television viewership. And I feel like it's the right time I've said this for the very first staff meeting I ever had. I said to the team, we are just relay racers. The baton's in our hand now. And at some point, we're going to start to slow down. And it's our job when we feel ourselves slowing down to hand the baton to the next runner who can go faster. I feel like it's that time. Let's find the next 40 to 45-year-old version who can run as hard as I did for the last 11 years, because the brand, the members, and the game deserve that.
This has been the biggest shift in women's movement we've seen. You're obviously in charge of a women's tour, and we've seen so much movement there. What was that like as you were dealing with a pandemic through 2021, listening to so many players on your tour voice what they were thinking?
Yeah, Shane, you know what's been interesting is we've been experiencing that movement for about 5 years. I think in 2020, everybody else woke up to it. But I would tell you in the last 5 years, I have so many phone calls with corporations that start with, they tell me about their commitment to equality, their commitment to women's empowerment, their commitment to women's in the boardroom. But when they look at their spending, their consumer spending and their sponsorship spending, it doesn't reflect that commitment. And so a lot of conversations will start with, Mike, help me do in public what we're doing inside the walls of our corporation. And as more and more companies started to do that and do that successfully well, it led to more and more. I think what's happened in 2020 is a broad scale awakening on so many topics, whether it's social injustice or women's issues, diversity, et cetera. But in the topic of women's sport and opening the doors for women in a significant way in terms of sponsorship and TV support, that had been started years ago, and 2020 was just the breakthrough moment where the rest of the world woke up to a wave we've been riding for quite a while.
You know, Mike, you may not hold this role in 2022, but I know you'll still care about the LPGA Tour and its fortunes. What's next for the tour? What would you like to see happen with the LPGA going forward?
Well, I mean, there's probably three major things, Damon. I mean, the first is we've started the expansion to make sure that we provide opportunities for women literally around the world. I mean, when I started, we picked up the Symetra Tour and made it our development tour. A year or so ago, we got involved in a joint venture with the LET, and that's been a home run, I think, both for the players and the businesses coming together. I think in time, I'd like to see that expand into Asia, where there might be a Symetra Tour in America, an LET Tour in Europe, and an LPGA Tour in Asia, all three of those tours leading to the LPGA. I'd really like to see us break through in terms of having real, substantial, significant, and most importantly, consistent network opportunities. You know, when you only show up on network 6 or 7 times a year, it's hard to build a following. But I think when somebody gives us the opportunity to live there on a more regular basis, you'll see the world respond to these incredible female athletes. And then I really want to take what's become an incredible teaching operation. You know, we've got 1,800, I think 1,900 LPGA teachers, but we're just scratching the surface on taking that around the world and making sure that young girls growing up anywhere in the world have female role models to teach them the game and learn the game from. I think the rest of what I hope to see is already going to happen, whether I hope it or not. I mean, the future of this game is female. I mean, when I took over, 15% of youth golf was girls, and today, you know, it's about 38%. So, as I say many times, you know, this game is going to look more female in about 10 or 15 years because the junior game is already more female. And for me, I'm really proud of that. I love this game. It's been important to me. And I want to make sure this game influences everybody, both genders, not just a male game. And at this point, that momentum is so significant, you couldn't stop it if you wanted to.
Amongst many achievements, Whan has been credited getting the LPGA to financial stability over the last decade and advancing the women's game around the world. The news caught many in the golf world by surprise.
I've been through the whole gambit of commissioners, but Mike made playing on the LPGA Tour fun. he made it enjoyable. Seeing him around, the energy that he had and that he gave to the game, and particularly to the women's game, was huge. We put our trust in him, and he paid us back tenfold with what he has done for women's golf in general. And it was just always fun to see him around. I mean, he was a fun guy to get to know. And like everybody else who's been on here so far, with Paige and with Christina, I too served on the LPGA board of directors, and he gave me a voice. He allowed me to understand that what I said mattered, and it gave me a purpose and a meaning and a confidence in myself as a woman, not only as a golfer, to move forward with my life. And he means so much more to all of those players that play on the tour than just playing the tour.
He created an environment of trust, and in that, he trusted the players, and he gave players more information than we'd ever received before about tournament contracts, about television, about things going on within the LPGA business. And in return, he asked for trust, trusting him and his vision moving forward. And I think that's what made him so spectacular, is this mutual respect and mutual trust with the players. It was unprecedented at the time, and it made the players want to buy into what he had to say. I will never forget one of the player meetings. He talked about the sponsors and how important the check writers were. And from that week forward, he put a letter in our lockers that explained who the major key players were within the sponsor corporation and why they chose the LPGA to sponsor, whether it was community involvement, whether it was charity dollars, whether it was TV exposure. We knew what the purpose was, but he trusted us with that information, and he wanted us to be a part of it. He wanted the players to buy into the whole vision of the LPGA Tour. And it was unique at the time, and it was just one more characteristic of Mike Whan and his leadership.
I'm not going to lie, I've cried more than once today already. And listening to what Mike had said regarding, the LPGA, where kids are off to college, selfishly, I sit here and I'm like, but Daddy, we still need you. I think, it's kind of funny. It's very, very bittersweet, because I was on the board of directors back in 2009 when we first hired Mike. And I remember I got this phone call at like 2:45 in the morning, because I was in Korea, and I was just like, oh, what is this random number? And then I got a call again from there, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I sent a text message. I'm like, hi, I don't know who you are. I'm in Korea getting ready for a golf tournament. Can you stop calling me? And the response I got was, hi, this is Mike Whan. I'm your new tour commissioner. So I like groggily woke up and I was like, hi, welcome to the team. And so, these 11 years, I mean, Mike was, he originally signed on for a 4-year contract, and the fact that he, pretty much almost tripled that is just incredible.
I also reached out to Nancy Lopez, obviously a World Golf Hall of Fame member, and I asked her what her reaction was to everything that she heard so far. She said to me, and I'm quoting here as well, I was very surprised and I haven't stopped crying, end quote. So from there, I asked her if she had tried to reach out and if she had tried to speak to Mike, and she told me that she had spoken to him only minutes before we had. And she said to that, quoting, he feels he's contributed what he can, that it's time for someone else to take over and to find the next person, end quote. So yeah, even the legends, all of those who have ever played in the LPGA, as you guys know, are extremely vested in the health of the LPGA. There was a time that they were very nervous for the long-term health, if you will, existence of the LPGA. And so Mike gave them great confidence. And so they're all hoping that if and when the day comes that he leaves, that the next person coming in will be someone that can continue that trend.
That's it for today. Thanks for watching Golf Central on YouTube. I'm Anna Whiteley.